What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Mike from NYC, and today I'm not really gonna react to anything. I just kind of wanted to rant a little bit about, what's going on with Harden. Harden's been one of my favorite players for what year are we in? 2022. I would say for the past like 7-8 years, ever since he got to Houston. That first year he got into Houston, he started to become one of my favorite players. Really because of his uniqueness and rarity. He was a big, nimble guy, but the way he played the game was so unique. He was a guy that used a lot of step backs. He kind of was a guy that, especially at that time and years following, he was a guy that scored in the regular season in volumes of someone like a Kobe Bryant, but played totally different. You know what I mean? Who was a lot of a finesse kind of guy, who was a very quick first step. Like, I just had never seen anything like that. A guy that big and strong, even though he was a little bit skinnier back then, but a guy that big and strong who played with such a finesse type of skill, who was really a two-guard who could really one-to-one. Like, his uniqueness, I took favor to how unique he was. I had never seen anything like that. And, seeing him fall from grace like this in the NBA, I mean, it's a little bit disheartening. Right now as we speak, they're down 0-2 to Miami, so you never know. They could come back, especially if Embiid comes back, and they could win a championship. I don't know what's to come, but, I just thought it was interesting. Like, I'm like, yo, why is Harden such a great player, but like in the playoffs he can't really get it done? And I was thinking about it. I was thinking, right? Because you got guys like Chris Paul going 14 for 14. Chris Paul just dropped 28 and 8 today. Great field goal percentage against the Mavs. Beat them handily, even though Luka got off. Chris Paul at 37-38. Who's shorter, smaller. I would say is probably not as quick, maybe equally as quick as Harden. Not way smarter. Somebody who's probably one of the smartest guys in the league, but Harden, I would give him that praise in terms of being a point guard as well. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's really going on? Why is Harden not really performing in the playoffs? Like, because it kind of hurts my feelings a little bit to see a guy that you root for so much lose consistently. Even though I've kind of gotten familiar with that, because Dame and Harden and Paul George, those are like my three favorite players. And though they have had a level of success, Harden has had an MVP. Dame has had very great stretches where people think he's better than Steph Curry, even though it's obvious that he's not. Paul George has had runs where he's looked like he could be like that guy upcoming next when he was on Pacers, and then injury. And, so there's a lot of ups and downs with the players I like. But I was really thinking, like, why does Harden have such problems in the playoffs? And it's because he doesn't honor the mid-range. Right? Just off the top of my head, right? Who would I think are the greatest scorers of all time and of this generation? Right? First one that comes to mind of all time, MJ, Kobe. Two of the most lethal mid-range shooters in the history of the game. Right? Then you go down the list. Even comparing him to Chris Paul. Chris Paul went 14 for 14. Legit. No one three-pointer, and I didn't see not a single layup. Carmelo Anthony, one of the most lethal mid-range shooters ever. You know what I mean? Who else? Who else can I think of? Lethals. Kevin Durant, one of the best mid-range scorers. Kyrie Irving, one of the best mid-range scorers. LeBron James, he's 6'8", 6'9". It's a little bit different. He may be closer to 6'10" than 6'8", but even when he needs to, he'll back out of mid-range. Steph Curry, one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time, who utilize the mid-range. I think the reason that Harden is having such difficult times is because he doesn't shoot mid-range. And I thought one of the most interesting examples of the ethos of the game, because it's almost like, well, I guess you don't really need mid-range like when you think about it just purely logically, like you don't necessarily need a mid-range, you would think, especially when you saw those Houston teams that he was on, just kind of just three layup, and Harden was so good, Harden was so talented that he was actually able to execute to a level without really utilizing the mid-range. Like, if you think about it, like, if you know somebody's not going to shoot a mid-range, how much easier do you think it would be to guard him? You would think it would be a lot easier, but Harden still getting his 30, 29, 29, 29, 30, 30, 36, whatever. So, but I think one of the most revealing parts of this type of truth, and if you believe in this idea of basketball, guys, I think that it was on full display in that year that Chris Paul, that first year Chris Paul was there. I think, or whatever year Chris Paul was there, they were the #1 seed, right? They had won the most games that year. And, it was like that team was kind of blessed in a way. Because even when you look at D'Antoni running gun, that's a very layup three-point kind of system, even with Nash. And though the teams were very talented, they never really exceeded in the playoffs, maybe because of that reason. But when you really sit down and think about it, like, it was like, okay, like, yeah, but they have Chris Paul. Chris Paul is one of the greatest mid-range shooters of all time. So it kind of like balanced things out. Like, even though Harden didn't really respect the mid-range, and you had Tucker and Ariza who didn't really do the mid-range, and then you had Clint Capella who didn't. It was like, all right, but we got Chris Paul, right? So Chris Paul can alleviate some of that, like if you believe in that ideology. And I just thought it was so interesting that when it went down, or when Chris Paul got injured, I think the basketball gods and the ethos of the game and of the playoffs were on full display when you saw somebody like Chris Paul go down and the team missed 27 consecutive threes. And I just want to show this real quick.
Harden behind the screen. The rebound Capella. Curry picks up on Harden. Knocked the ball out of his hands.
That counts as a miss.
0.5 on the shot clock. And Gordon for three. Tucker with the rebound. Another.
This team would have fighters, man. This team have fighters, bro. I'm telling you. I forgot about Ryan Anderson, PJ Tucker, Ariza, Eric Gordon. I believe they had Gerald Green at the time. This team has some dogs. They have fighters, man. Look at these shots. And they're still up. Like, it, bro, I ain't gonna lie. It hurts my feelings to even watch this, bro. I'm gonna keep it a stack. They're up. Like, they're winning. Like, Harden, like, all right, I'm off that. 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 I'm off that.
Deflected out about corner. Harden short.
They're still up, which is crazy. That's how you know the defense was real.
And it'll be Golden State ball. 5 for 15 for the field. Shoots the three.
They're still up 10.
Always in striking distance. A reason for three.
They're still up 10.
And Green is fouled, held by Capella. Durant out 4.
I'm biting my nails like I don't know what happened. Look. But you know what's crazy? Look at all the offensive rebounds they've gotten. They had some fighters, man.
There's Rudy ahead of the field, and he's fouled from behind. There's the corner three from Tucker. Capella with another rebound. Gordon is open for three.
Damn, mother effer, yo. Damn, look at how wide open he is. Straight glass.
They are now 6 of 29, 21%. Oh, Ariza turning and shooting. Off-balance shot and then knocked out of bounds. Ariza, he's been way off. And Nick Young trying to defend. Green fires.
Damn, man. It's still up too, like open. This one right here, bro. It was just like, yo. When this happened, it was just like, yo, it's not meant to be, bro. It's just not meant to be, bro.
6 of 3 for a reason, playing a lot of defense on Durant. Maybe that's taking his legs away. Set his feet.
Wide open. Board. Wide open. Board. Almost. Is he getting fouled? I just want to see. It obviously doesn't matter. No, he's not getting fouled, I don't think. He flopping a little bit. Yo, PJ down there doing the dirty. Oh my gosh. This is the wildest thing I have ever seen to this day, man. You can't, but at this point, you can't stop shooting. You've built your entire, not only your entire team, your entire system, your ethos, like the core of who this team is get up threes, the numbers, the numbers, the numbers, the numbers. And it was just like, if you looked at the odds for the likeliness of this happening based on how they were shooting in the regular season and the playoffs and all of that, it was just like, there was just such a low chance of this happening.
42 threes per game during the season. It's hard to be forced to throw.
What was Curry's percentage looking like?
Three
13 from 3, 27 points.
during the season. It's hard to be forced to throw. And it's rebounded by the Warriors.
Yeah, man. Like, if you believe in like basketball ethos and basketball gods and anything like that, like if you saw this and you didn't believe like basketball gods existed, like I don't think there's nothing that's gonna convince you. Like, to me, that's just crazy, man. All in all, like, you have to honor thy mid range. You know, it's just like, you know, the numbers are cool and things of that nature, and the numbers can tell a part of the story, but they're just the ethos of the game that is just like, bro, you have to respect that mid range, bro. You have to respect that mid range, and in seeing this, and in combination of Chris Paul seeing what he did a few nights ago, going 14 for 14 from the mid range, like, I don't think Chris Paul is physically doing movements that Harden can't do. It's just Chris Paul honors the mid range. He honors the mid range. Like, the energy that Harden uses for them step back threes, he could do to do a dribble pull up. He may not have the muscle memory in the same way as the step back threes, but you have to honor that mid range. If anybody were going to be able to do it, it was going to be James Harden and his Houston team. And they just, like, honestly, this is one of the craziest things that I ever seen. Like, a lot of them were bad shots. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of them were bad shots. Give credit to the Warriors. But, you know, out of those 27, like, 6, 7 of them were wide open. Could have easily hit. Just didn't happen. Like, they just missed 27. Because it wasn't like they shot a poor percentage, which obviously they did. Because that's one thing, to shoot a poor percentage and the numbers kind of let you down in a way. But to miss 27 threes in a row, that was like a basketball miracle. Like, that's literally the basketball gods striking down on the Houston Rockets and saying, no, like, this, I don't accept the way that this is happening. You know, like, without Chris Paul, like, I just don't accept what you guys are doing. I rebuke all that you're trying to do to the game, because had they won, you know, it probably would have changed the way that teams tried to win games, you know, because with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, you have 3 elite mid-range shooters, you know, and that's still kind of like, you know, the thing you look at in terms of like great scorers. But had they had won the chip, they might have, you know, things might have changed. Teams might have been looking to really go small and just really sell out for the three-pointer. Pretty much, James Harden has to shoot mid-ranges. He has to shoot mid-range. There's no way that you can be a great player in this league and think that you can get a great, at least a perimeter player, right? If you're a Shaquille O'Neal, a Giannis, you know, even Giannis has a mid-range. Shaquille O'Neal, Wilt Chamberlain, I'm sure you don't need a mid-range. You just need to be a great big man, defend, rebound, get your 30, you know, kick out to shooters. That's a whole different ethos. That's a whole different thing, being a big man. But if you're going to be a great perimeter scorer in the playoffs and have playoff success, it's apparent that you have to shoot mid-ranges. So, obviously, I don't think... Well, let me watch my mouth. Let me speak those things that are not, you know, like, if I'm gonna have the opportunity to speak, I might as well say what I want. So, Harden, if you by any chance ever see this, like, you know what I'm saying, I hope you win a championship. I mean, you are one of the top 75 greatest players of all time. They can't take that away from you. I'm gonna be honest. That you are one of the, even with your playoff woes, what you've been able to accomplish in the regular season and what you've been able to accomplish in the postseason. Even though you've had flameouts, you still have multiple Western Conference appearances. You still average 23 points per game in the playoffs. Like, that's nothing to scoff at. You're still a top 75 player. But if you hope to extend your career, one, and two, have any type of playoff success going forward in the future, going back to Philly, you have a chance to, you have 2 home games. You have a chance to even this series up. If you want any chance of being a dominant offensive guard in this league again, you have to honor thy mid-range. It's just that simple. I think that's a lot of the reason why when Paul George was having the issues that Paul George was having, it was because he didn't really honor that mid-range. You have to honor the mid-range. It's very rare that Kawhi Leonard has off nights. Like, just in the playoffs, like, it's just rare that he has, like, not even off nights, but just nights that he just goes ice cold. It's when you honor the mid-range, it's very rare you have nights that you just go extremely cold. Like, even, like, it's a lot rare. I'm not gonna say it don't happen. Chris Paul did have a game against the Pelicans where he had 4 points. So I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen, but it makes it a lot more difficult. And Chris Paul's 6 foot. Like, he's so good that sometimes we forget that he's only 6 foot tall. Like, James Harden's 6'5", Kawhi Leonard's 6'8". Like, even being 6'3", and 6 flat is day and night. So yeah, man. All in all, if you want to have any success, you have to take mid ranges. And I'm not even on defense. I'm not even on that, because it's just like whatever. Like, you know what I mean? He plays as good as defense as I think he can play. Honestly, from what I see, he doesn't not give effort. But you have to honor the mid-range. You have to take mid-ranges. One dribble pull-up, 2 dribble pull-ups, fade away, off the screen. Like, you need to get back in the mid-range bag. And I know that you've done it before. I've seen you do it in Houston before you linked up with D'Antoni. I've seen you sidestep. I've seen you, dribble pull-up. I've seen you come off screens. And, it's been a long time since then. You're a 33-year-old man. You're in a lot of regards, you're probably stuck in your own way, in your ways. When you were 24, 25, 26, you could make adjustments. You know what I mean? But being a 33-year-old basketball player, not even only a human, like, when you're a 33-year-old human, you kind of have your ways. And it's like, you may not be set in stone, but you pretty comfortable in whatever life you probably in at that point. But being a 33-year-old basketball player, you pretty much like, I'm good. Unless you're an anomaly player, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or Kobe Bryant, unless you're one of those type of guys, you're probably stuck in whatever. But I just had to get this off my chest. Honestly, I don't know how much of this I'm keeping. It's a 23-minute video. But I really had to get this off my chest. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really had to get this off my chest. Cause it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. I'm gonna be honest. But, he's top 75, so, I guess that's like, if when he started his career, somebody said, "Hey, James Harden, you're not gonna have any championships, but you're gonna be ranked one of the top 75 greatest players of all time. You're gonna have an MVP, and you're gonna be you're probably gonna finish your career top 2 in 3-pointers made." That's a hell of a career. Who's not taking that? You know what I mean? So, it's all perspective. But anyway, definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like these type of videos, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.